I'm going to start again for the sake of easy editing. I'm Linda Kay Gifford. Welcome. I am a childhood sexual abuse survivor, but I talk with people who I'm finding have any kind of PTSD, especially related to abuse or to survivor guilt, which is very similar to abuse in this sense that I'm going to talk about tonight, which is self-punishment, our tendency to punish ourselves in ways that once I explain it to you, you're going to go, oh, yes, I see that, if you didn't already. But many people I talk to don't realize ways that we sabotage ourselves. And that's really important to recognize because it's one of the most important triggers, one of the things that happens that sets a person with PTSD or any kind of emotional trauma off is, I don't want to get too specific into what it would be for me because it's really different for everybody. But the common thread is something in your life or just your head, just a thought, just a memory, whatever will make you feel overwhelmed, like you can't cope. Like for those people I'm talking about, this is PTSD sufferers, we get overwhelmed. And when we say that to people who don't know what it's like to be completely emotionally overwhelmed to the point of hardly being able to function, if function at all, to the point of even to the extreme, those of us who have blacked out or adopted alter personalities to handle extreme situations, you're my people. You're who I'm talking to, those and support people for them. Because I've found, what I thought was only me, I find there's a whole lot of us out there. And so I'm talking, I've got a book coming out called Self-Talk, My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Abuse. And I'm about to release an e-guide that I'm pretty excited about. It's called How to Get From Triggered to Happy. And it's really just putting together all the things that we talk about on here about how to live your best life, And part of that is realizing, as I was talking about in my last live stream, and often comes up, is realizing that there's never going to be a time that you're going to be okay. So if you're seeking that day and upset that it's not coming, get over it. It's not happening. And that sounds very harsh, but it's not. It's the most loving thing I can tell you. Because the bottom line is you are going to make your everyday. Only you. Okay, this is going to sound really harsh. I can hear it in my head already. I'll try to soften the blow. I don't know if I can, though. Basically, nobody cares. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Lots of people love you. Lots of people love me. But when it comes to the traumatic stuff, it's like people will empathize. People will feel sorry for you, whatever. But those closest to you, they can only give so much of themselves in their life, too. You need to give back to people, not just suck energy. And unfortunately, people who allow themselves to go to the extreme of emotional depravity, the rabbit hole, spinning down that rabbit hole, it just doesn't ever turn out well for anybody. So let's examine the rabbit hole, what I call the rabbit hole. I just wrote a part 1 and a part 2, ended up being about the rabbit hole. All these things just kind of come out stream of consciousness, and then I read back to figure out what I wrote and gave it a name. And what I'm saying is, don't despair because nobody cares. People care a lot and love you. It's not that. I mean, when it comes to your own mental health, you're the only one that can get in there and do it. You're already in there. When people say turn it over to a higher power, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That doesn't mean you can't believe in your higher power. Everyone can adopt their own higher power. I've made my own higher power that I call God. God to me is, I take the ingredients of goodness and love and kindness in the world and I add them all together into I knead them and I bake the bread that I call God and I eat of that bread. When I take communion, it is not the blood. That doesn't separate you from the fact that you are in control of your higher power because it is in your head. If you're waiting for an outside God to treat you right or person to treat you right, stop. That's non-productive. Hopefully they still will. But hopes are like assholes, Grandpa would say. Everyone's got some, or one. Hopefully you don't have some. Everyone's got one, and aliens have some. Okay, that's another thing. Do you see that spot? That's my torch coming through my hair. I thought it was a spot on the screen, and sorry, it's just freaking me out. I gotta move the torch. There we go. Okay, so rabbit hole. This leads, basically it's real in line with what we were talking about a couple days ago, and that is, I'm trying to explain, and this is not a scholarly work. This is me and my observations. And, I've read a few books, whatever. I'm not citing sources. I'm not writing anybody's words down. And if there's different ways to look at compartmentalization in different fields. It means different things. I'm using it to mean the separation of this kind of personality can handle this kind of personality can handle that. Whether it be an alter that someone has named, which I never did that. It's okay when you do. People are very smart people actually are the ones who can create alters to take the abuse instead of losing their mind completely, and to the point that it's not even considered an illness. It's considered a coping technique. So if you have somebody you talk to with a name or an imaginary friend or something, consider yourself one of the lucky smart ones and thank them for saving you. I had what I consider to be alternate personalities that just nothing I consciously thought about, but just I can hear the voices in my head. I can hear the voices in my head taking over and morphing into somebody who can handle something, somebody who can forget something, somebody who's angry. But this is something even people who've never been abused do. It's just those of us who have to examine these things to achieve overall mental health because of things like suffering from PTSD and all. We've just looking at it more intensely and we are giving it labels and names, but really everyone, all of y'all, whether you're one of us or not, do that. And when I say one of us, it's liberating. It's great when you get to the day that you say, okay, I'm going to stop trying to be the person that wasn't abused. That's not you. You are the person that was abused. That's a fact. You're not going to get over that, but you're going to be fine. You're just going to put that in a file. It's going to be a file that you're going to call, I am not going to be abused anymore. And you're going to label that file. And you know what? You're going to take it and you're going to put it away. But you're not going to bury it. You're going to put it away on a broad daylight on a shelf in your mental home office. You're going to keep that file and you're going to make sure that you see that label that says, I will not be abused anymore. Because you don't want to forget that. That's the single most important thing you need to do now, is not dive down the rabbit hole. Because that rabbit hole they talk about when you spiral out of control, when you cry and you cry, or maybe you black out. For most people, it's more just I just going to cry till I get a migraine, and then that stops you. Or you drink and drug till you just can't think anymore, because that stops you. Anything to stop your brain from remembering, from thinking, from ricochet. It's like having a racquetball inside your head just bouncing around with memories and thoughts for those of us who suffer this kind of PTSD. And that stuff you're going to keep getting it, but you can handle it, manage it, and snap it away fast. And that's what these live streams are about. And we keep talking about a different thing each time. This time, I just wanted to elaborate on the fact that just think about that rabbit hole of when people say, oh, I fell in the rabbit hole. Oftentimes in social media now they're referring to like of information. But I'm talking about the one of hysteria. Of I'm crazy at the moment, I'm in temporary insanity, I'm too emotional to stop crying, I'm going to cry it out. These manic, hysterical moments, that's the rabbit hole I'm talking about. But think about how it's also comforting. And that's the problem. We seek that rabbit hole. We tell everybody that we are not, that we hate it, that we hate being out of control. But really, when we're out of control, it's the only time we feel comfortable. It's like because we're so mixed up inside that flinging all that shit it feels great. And so this rabbit hole, it's really more like a black hole, isn't it? It's like the black hole that just sucks everything in, and we can throw all of our trauma and all of our memories and all of our anger and our triggers, we can throw them into that black hole. But that's good, but don't jump in. Don't jump in. It's really hard to get out of a black hole. So you want to draw that line. You want to compartmentalize for good now. Instead of being somebody who goes away or gets angry or rides that freak out all the way to the end, to the migraine, to the pass out, to the whatever. You can be that person. You're going to be that person that just stops and goes, I feel it. I am mentally trained myself to recognize I am a survivor of abuse, and this is a feeling I'm going to feel. It's unpleasant. Let it settle, let it blow away, let it pass, whatever it is for you. Just take your mind, separate it from that. Take the present and separate it from the past. That's actually a big part of the trigger guide. The first steps are realizing the shame is not yours. You need to tell yourself that all day long, every day. There's never going to be a day, unless you're really lucky, maybe there is for you, but where you're just like, fine, I never feel ashamed of anything anymore. I don't have any memories that make me feel shameful or guilty or that I wonder about, or people come at you. For me, it's messages telling me, what the hell am I doing? Airing my dirty laundry, my family, my parents would be rolling in their graves. Their dust would be fluttering in the lake is more like it, but oh well, that is a whole nother story, and we're going to talk more about that too, because it's very important that you live your truth, that you do what you want to do. And I don't I've wondered if I had to justify. I actually talked to my therapist about that today. Tuesday is therapy day, and I talked to her about, always that justifying, like, I don't have a degree in this, blah, blah. I certainly have lots of experience, and I've done a lot of my own work on just having a great life, despite the fact that I do and will suffer from PTSD related to my childhood sexual abuse forever. And it's hard to qualify that because that can make you really depressed. Like, damn, I want to be over it, But the more that you practice these triggers, you are largely over it, because now it's a thing. Now it's a sensation in the body memory. That's the hard part. That's the part that doesn't go away. That's the part that settles in, that you have to shake off, fling off, let blow off, give a little time to wear off. But if you do it calmly, it will happen. It will, because it's the past. It's not who you want to be now. And you need to be who you want to be, not who you've always been or who hasn't served you. The you that freaks out hasn't served you. It hasn't gotten you anywhere. It hasn't improved your love life. If you manage to keep people attached to you through need, and this, again, I'm going into a harsh space. Most people are not like this, but there are people that I talk to in survivor group stuff, and I listen to their remarks, and what people are willing to deal with, and the self-punishment they put themselves through, combined with the inability to change, saying there's nothing I can do. And that's where, like, as a coach, I have to say to people, like, then I can't help you. You know, you have to take responsibility. However bad it was, yeah, go after them and legally all you can, do what you need to do. But you have to take responsibility for your own life, because nobody else is going to do it. And if they did, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be real. It wouldn't be what you want. And you couldn't seek a relationship of in-depth and equal with somebody. You'd be being taken care of emotionally by somebody. And I know many people that have spent lifetimes in relationships where they were kind of taking care of each other instead of passionately in love. And y'all know, if you've been watching my live streams, that I believe passionately in love is the only way to go. So I just wanted to touch on that. I do have notes of which I have not really looked in. I don't think there's anything more to say right now. I think it's time to watch a little TV and then get back to work on Sweet Survivor. Please, doing a revamp of feelgoodfairtrade.com and have collections for Sweet Survivor up and running. It's very cleaned up now. Unfortunately, we have lost several suppliers. Fortunately, we have a lot more. But I just want to say, like, to those who this pandemic has slowed their production, we're looking very forward to having your products back in our store soon. And everybody else, please support us. Both sweetsurvivor.com and feelgoodfairtrade.com. Go to my store. We ship fast. We warehouse in the USA. We buy from women artisans in over 20 countries, and warehouse here in the States, so we can get it to you fast. And also awaiting the 501c3 status, that means nonprofit, to come through for Sweet Survivors. But as always, and no one's doing it, but please do, really need you to go to the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund on Facebook pages and GoFundMe pages. I guess nobody's going to believe it's real, or not too many people, until we have our nonprofit status. So pray God that comes soon. There's your charge for today. Don't kick your own ass. Don't jump in the rabbit hole or the black hole. Just throw your shit in there. Make a file for your mental office that says I will not be abused, and look at it, but don't open it. Put all the crap that ever happened to you in there, and don't open it. Unless you're gonna, like, write a book about it or something someday, I believe I said. I will talk to you on Thursday, 7 o'clock.